Great. Well, welcome everyone to another discussion on great leadership. I'm really pleased today to introduce my guest, Ali Shami. He has over 27 years with the Boeing Corporation. And for a lot of you viewers, that's longer than you've been born, or certainly longer than your working career. So he's got a lot of experience at all levels of the organization. And today he helps companies on cross-cultural business development and cross-cultural communication. So Ali, welcome. Thank you very much for being our guest on Discussions on Great Leadership.
Thank you, Stephen. It's a pleasure to be here. I really love watching your talks, your discussions on leadership. I look forward always to seeing new videos and new discussions coming up. So I appreciate the opportunity on being here.
Great. Well, thank you. Well, I just want to dig into your great experience level and your 27 years in the corporate world. So everyone gets the same first question. What does the phrase great leadership mean to you?
So there's leadership and there's great leadership. A lot of times, and also you can add to that management. So there's management, leadership, great leadership, right? And a lot of people, they feel for some reason, the word management, and I know what the reason, there's so many reasons why the management has been taken in negative, like this is management. You're just really counting. You're just looking for, you have a project, you make sure that it's done and you don't look for the other aspects or other factors that make the project a success. And there's leadership and there's a great leadership. So to me, management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things. Great leadership is doing the right things right. Those two are so important. And to me, a lot of people, they say, hey, to be a leader, you should not be focusing on the details. You should not be too much into the details of the work. And that can be really misleading because you can't, especially if you're at the first line manager, once you become like an executive all the way at the top level, you really, you don't need to know all the details on the working level, but you still need to know at least one level or two levels below you, at least understand the language. So to me, great leadership is having that leadership, that vision, strategy, caring for the people. A leader is a dealer in hope who knows how to motivate the team and do all of that. But great leadership is not just the soft skills, but it's also knowing the details of the work and not necessarily sit down and discuss and say, why are you doing this little details here? Not necessarily, but they should really have some management skills to be able to be successful. I've seen managers who do the things right and they're just cutting trees in the wrong forest, right? And I've seen leaders that their heart is there, they're doing the right thing, they want to connect with people, but they miss the point, they miss the reason that they're in business because of creating a company that is successful, that's going to reflect good on the employees, right? And they're going to continue to have job the next year. I can be a leader for a year, we'll get everybody to be happy, everybody loves me and everything, but you know what, the company will go out of business. So to me, great leadership is having that great, nice combination between leadership and management, mostly in the leadership, a little bit of management, that it's really important. Right. So that's what the great leadership to me.
We are so similar in our thinking. I've often said that good managers can drive results, or good managers can be really good people managers, but a great leader does both.
Yes, exactly.
Let me dive in, because I think it's a really important topic today. You just talked about caring for the employees, caring for the workforce. And there's a lot of talk about workplace well-being, workplace wellness. Can you elaborate a little bit more about how a great leader is a caring leader?
I love I've heard it so many times, just people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the knowing, the knowledge, I mean, how many times you've been in meetings and somebody gets up and start talking and they know so much, and you're just like bombarded with so much information, data, they know so much, and then at the end you realize, like, I'm not really sure there is really good, especially when you're working with customers, I'm not sure if that person really cares about us as a business, cares about me, and that really turns off the whole, just burns the bridge between two individuals. So the caring piece is really important. Authentic leadership is so critical. The leaders that impacted my life in a positive way are those who came across, or not just came across, who were genuinely caring. You know, they're like, look, it's not the result. The result is really important, but it's the formula, it's the relationship that it's really important to me. So the caring piece, it has to be there. Now, sometimes you'll be like, well, how can I be caring when I have to tell the bad news? How can I fire somebody, not fire somebody, just let someone go? Fire is a different story, but let's say, you're not let someone go, but how can I be caring at the same time? And a lot of people, they live in the binary world. They're either being nice or not being nice, and they can't mix business with relationship. And I've seen a lot of situations, and I had people that I had to let go. But thank God I put so much in the caring bank in the past that they knew everything that I'm doing. If I'm letting them go, they know that I've exhausted everything to keep them. And keeping in mind the next opportunity that I bring them back, I will do it, and they will count, and they'll know that, and they feel very good, and they'll walk away. And it's really weird when you have somebody walking out, you're walking someone out of the door, and they're appreciative. They're like, I know you've done everything. Thank you so much. And please don't forget about me. And I'll be like, absolutely, I won't. And I brought people back, and it was just awesome. So the caring is really a very, very important piece. It's an essential. It's in the core of great leadership.
Do you think there are great leaders at every level of an organization? Can a first-time manager become a great leader, or is this something only at the executive level?
Oh, definitely. Everybody is a leader to someone. Everybody. You don't have to be in a company. You have a son, you have a daughter, you have a friend, you have a neighbor. You can be a leader too. It's a way of life. It's not the title. It's not the title. I mean, titles are so important and positions are so important, but it's not really the position that make the leader. It's the leader that makes the position. And you look about the great people in the world that changed the world. They don't have titles. They're known with their first name. So really, yes, if you're doing what you're doing the right way, and you're impacting, and wherever you stand, you're the soul of that place, you're a leader. You impact anyone in a positive way, you are a leader. And the higher you go up, all what it is, it's just you're given a larger shovel, which means that you need to get more soil in that, in cultivating the garden of the organization. It's just happened now. Instead of you having a shovel, you have a bulldozer. So, and the expectations are higher. So I really don't, no matter where you are, at what level, you can have somebody who has two people or one person reporting to them. They will do a fantastic job and influence that person to become the next Steve Jobs, right? Versus someone who has 400 people and they're not impacting one single person.
I think you've just given me the title of one of my next books.
Awesome.
You said leadership is a way of life. I like that.
Oh,
that's a
cool.
Great phrase.
Yeah. Well, I want to see that book, and I'd like it to be signed. I would love for you to sign it.
Or we can co-write it. We'll have to co-author it. I got to get
awesome.
some more of your thoughts on that. Leadership is a way of life. That was very nice. Last question, Ali, and as we're recording this in June 2021. We've been in lockdowns for 15 months. Parts of the world are coming out of lockdowns. We don't know what the work environment's going to look like going forward. What would be your advice for leaders in terms of leading people remotely or leading people even in a hybrid situation?
My advice, having worked in organizations for so long and worked with most of my customers were overseas. We have teams located overseas. Thank God, the muscle for being in that environment pre-COVID has not been dormant. It's been exercised. So when COVID hit, it is new, but it's not a totally new planet for us who are working in virtual teams. So we know what are the skills, what are the things that needs to be done, that leaders need to do to stay connected with their teams. How do you build a good relationship? How do you maintain trust with folks working remotely, whether they're employees or customers, suppliers, you name it. with COVID, they become more essential, more critical to amplify that. So that means if I'm a customer that I see twice, once a year, that they come to Seattle or I go visit them overseas, where I need to stay connected with them, and of course, in occasions, sending greeting cards, Happy Easter, you name it, all that, just to stay connected. All what now with COVID, it became more critical to stay more connected because you're not seeing them as often just with employees. You want to stay connected with them just enough to feel that there's still that connection is there, but not too much to smother them. And what I saw is, my advice is not for what people should do, but I believe the advice or the lesson that I learned is not to overdo things. Naturally, especially in the Western world, our culture is we don't like to be micromanaged. And if you're not careful, you could come across by, it's like, I want to stay connected with you, so I'd like you to tell me everything that you're doing today. Well, yes, that will stay connected, but that will send the message that you don't trust me and you want to make sure I'm doing what I'm doing every day. My advice for the mentees, the folks that got promoted to be first line managers and second levels, right at the beginning of COVID, I said that you got to be careful not to overdo things. Work right now in making sure that you have continuous communication. Treat every person the way, don't just assume now everybody, just because they're working from home, so their personality style, has everything is the same. The driver is going to continue to be a driver. The supporter is going to continue to be the supporter. The introvert, they're going to continue to be introvert. The extrovert, they're going to be more need to be on Zooms. Please, I want the whole world to see me, right? So you really need to keep that going, but not overdo it, but work on right now, be more specific in your feedback. Don't wait until the end of the year to do the performance management, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people fell into that. They're like, oh my goodness, COVID is here. I don't know what to do. You know what? I'll just wait until later. Hopefully it'll go away and then everybody will come back and I'll do business as usual. And they kept on postponing, telling people what they need to hear, not what they like to hear. And at the end, it hit. And it's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And even sometimes when you're working with employees face to face, and at the end of the year, you'll get like, well, I didn't know that you're not quite pleased with what I'm doing. Why didn't, can you imagine now if you're like, well, you could have sent me an email. I didn't realize. So my advice really for currently, and then the new norm that we're going to, is just more emphasis in understanding the personality of the employees. It's more, there's not one formula, one rule that fits all. You got to continue to be that authentic, situational, know the DNA, the motivational DNA, what motivates the employee, and provide that just enough to that person the way they like to be treated. Don't look at it, if I'm working at home and I'm a driver or I'm a supporter, so I want everybody to treat me the way I want, so everybody want to be treated that way. It's just treat people the way they like to be treated within the company's objectives, lines, guidelines, ethics, all of that. And just sending that message. In the end, it's really, I care.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so important. That is so, especially at this time, at what we went through, people are worried, oh my, kids, money, everybody was pushed down to the bottom level of Maslow's pyramid. It's just safety, food. Am I going to have the job? What's going to happen? Is the world's going to end? So you got to really, leaders will keep on continuing to focus on that. And it's more evident what the German philosopher said. He said, don't expect me to fulfill your vision until you fill my stomach. So a lot of people, with them being at the bottom of the Maslow pyramid, they're looking for safety. And then when you say, look, I am your leader, but we have shared leadership. We are in the same boat. Do everything. We're going to succeed. Again, throw that hope. hey, we've been through much worse than this. We had so many occasions, events in the world, in the States or wherever the country is, war, whatever, and we survived. People want to see that. People want to see
Yes.
that positive. I mean, I've noticed that when I just like, the first time I was promoted to be first line manager, and now as a lead, even I experienced that, but just it's more evident just walking in the morning. If I'm in a great shape, the whole organization in a great shape, in a good mood. And if I'm just like normal, just okay, everybody just mirror what you see. So from it's kind of like the duck, right? Calm from the top and just pedaling so much underwater. It's the same thing. It doesn't, you gotta really force, you got to continue to project what the future is going to be in a positive way, even though everywhere you look at is not, it contradicts what and come across not fake. See, that's really important. You don't want to come across like, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, the neighborhood is burning, but hey, isn't that the nicest sunny outside? There's just a limit for that. So I feel just with the new norm, staying connected and treat people the way they like to be treated, again, without creating this preferential treatment of one employee you're treating differently. You continue to have that standard, but just genuinely have that, send the message that I care about you as an employee, and no matter what happens, I'm going to do everything I can. And people really don't care. Again, they don't care what you know until they know that you care. The last thing I would leave, with as far as an advice, you can love I love what John C. Maxwell said. He says, you can love your people without leading them, but you can't lead them without loving them. Mm-hmm. As a leader, you have to walk in and say, you know what? I'm going to look at everybody to be an awesome future leader. And that's how I'm going to treat them. And if somebody doesn't respond to that frequency, that's their choice. We all can be leaders, but they have to have that, they have to turn to that channel, to that frequency of that leadership. And you can never make someone a leader that they don't want to, but you can make everyone who wants to be a leader, if they're willing to pay the price, they want to put the energy, they can be. We are not born leaders. We are made we can be made leaders if we choose to be.
If we choose. Yeah. That's great advice, Ali. I appreciate it. Listen, tell our viewers if they're interested in learning about cross-cultural communication or cross-cultural business techniques. How do they reach you? What's the best way?
Yeah, so my company is FTD Global. Is F as in feel, T as in think, D as in do, and it's got nothing to do with the flowers. I don't deliver flowers. It's my company is FTD Global. You look at it, is pretty much I connect companies overseas with in the United States business executives, and at the same time, when I bring them together, if the folks in their organizations, they want to end up working together, whether it's a venture or partnership, provide the training for middle managers, employees, cultural awareness, not necessarily do's and don'ts, as more as important, creating that trust, how to build that trust, because sometimes in relationships, you can learn the do's and don'ts, but if you do everything right and you don't do the bad things, and people get impressed, like, wow, you're greeting us the way we want to be greeted, you're doing everything, and at the end we go back to the caring piece. If at the end they realize, like, whoa, you knew how to do things, but it doesn't look like you really care about our country, you don't care about history, you don't care about religion, you don't care about whatever going on, you end up losing everything. So it's really important, not just do's and don'ts, but that genuine interest in people's culture, and come across like, hey, I believe in the perspective of perspectives. No culture is better than others. There is no right or wrong. They're just right and left. And doing that, so that's the kind of the message, that it's not just an immediate success, but just the long term, how to maintain trust for a very, very, very long time. That's my company. That's who I am.
That's great advice. And as someone who's lived outside his home country for over half my adult life, I can totally agree with you. So it's been a pleasure talking with you today, Ali. I think you've given our viewers a lot of great tips. If you guys like this, please hit the like button below. And even more important, subscribe to our channel. This is Stephen Howard. It's been my pleasure hosting discussions on great leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Thanks for the opportunity.